Welcome to Spa Days. Today we're taking a look at the cover Butler. It goes by various other names, but more or less it's just an aluminum tube frame with a chain, and it makes opening and closing the hot tub cover really super easy. This video is mainly going to be for people that have maybe bought one used or they're making their own. They don't have instructions. It's going to show you how this works and how to install it. Basically, the cover flips over the cover Butler, and then you push it off. And it gets held by the chain vertically, like so. I did all that one-handed, and this is a heavy-duty cover. To close it, it's just the opposite. One-handed. Makes it super easy. And that's it. You're a lot more likely to use your hot tub if you have a cover opener. This side is held in by two straps going down to the bottom bar. So you do not actually need to use your little clippies on this side. So there's only two clips in one hand, and you can open and close your hot tub with ease. Alright, let's go over the install real quick. Basically, it's just a series of tube metal, and it'll come without screws in it, and it's your job to get it right where you need it and screw it all in place so that it fits your hot tub and opens up your cover. They're designed to be universal. You can make them out of PVC or your own tube metal. I'll put a link up showing you how to do that as well. But they're not too expensive. I'll put a link down in the video description where you can get them pretty cheap on Amazon. It's worth it, well worth it. So starting out, you're just going to have a bare tube. It'll have pre-drilled holes, but it will not have holes all the way through, so you're going to have to drill these self-tapping screws in. So the first thing you want to do is kind of put it all together and just set it up on your hot tub loosely, and then you're going to mount the base. And I chose to mount it to the concrete. You can mount it to the side of the hot tub, but if you ever need to get into that side panel, it's going to be a lot more difficult if you've got this attached to it. So I chose to mount it to the concrete. Basically all you're going to do is take yourself a masonry drill bit, 5/32, and get this pretty well centered. I centered it an even distance away from the edge of the side cover here on both sides. Then I just marked and drilled the 4 holes, and I used 4 redheads or Tapcon concrete screws. I'll put a link down in the description to where you can get those online pretty cheap as well. And just sink those 4 screws in, and now you got your base mounted. Next thing you want to do is measure 3 inches from each side of the cover. You want about 3 inches of slack here between the cover and the side or the center of the cover Butler. It's moved a little bit since I installed it, but it's not a big deal. You just want it somewhere in between 2 and 3 inches. The more space you have, the more room you'll have for like the little side flap and the chain and stuff, but really anywhere between 2 and 3 inches is fine. So kind of get it roughly like 3 inches from both sides of the hot tub. And then you want to get the actual length down, and they say it should be about a ½ an inch from the center line. So this is my center line right here, and you want it about a ½ an inch there. And on this hot tub, that just happens to be right at this other seam here. So as it moves around, it'll move around both ways a little bit as you're using it, but you want to shoot for about a ½ an inch from the center seam line on your cover. Once you have that down, I'll go ahead and sink these screws in, the 2 vertical screws on both sides. Sink those in. That'll lock in your total length this way, and then remeasure your 3 inches this way, and then sink it in on the top there. And then once you have the top all set, then you're going to come down here and just finish this off. Your clearance will be slightly different over here than it is up there by the cover. You just want to make sure it's even on both sides, and then go ahead and sink in those 4 screws there. And that's it as far as the bar goes. To get the chain down, you're going to go ahead and open it onto the new cover butler. You got to hold it because it's not going to have a chain to hold it up. And what you're going for is you want the bar to be pretty much almost exactly vertical, or maybe slightly off, maybe 5 degrees at the most. But they say vertical is what you're shooting for. It can be back a little bit, and that's fine. It just helps keep it away from the hot tub. But the further back you go, the more force it's going to take to lean it back forward. And as far as the chain goes, you want it to be more or less parallel with the ground. It's not a big deal. It can be off a little bit. It's not an exact science. But basically you want to choose what you're going to mount it to. You can either mount it to the top stud of the spa base. That's nice and solid. Or you can go ahead and attach it to the cover as well. I chose to attach it to the cover so it would be down underneath the slip and less likely to catch on things. But as long as you have something more or less parallel and you got a nice solid attachment point, that's all you need to worry about. So what you're going to do is measure to whichever point you choose. Measure up from whatever point you choose. So we got 32 inches there to the cover where I wanted to attach it. So you're going to go ahead and just come over here to the bar and just measure it up. And you can see I'm actually 2 inches lower. And that's because the previous owner actually had this mounted to the spa shell itself, and I chose to go ahead and attach it to the concrete. So that's where our extra 2 inches came from. But it works fine. You know, as long as you're somewhere in the ballpark, you're fine. You just want this to be more or less vertical and this to be more or less parallel. But anywhere in there will work, as you can tell. Just do that on both sides, and you want the same angle on this side. You want the same point on the shell, and you want the same angle over on your other side over here. So you want to duplicate the same point on the shell and the same angle of the bar. That way you've got a nice even transition from opening to close. There you have it. Simple one-hand operation with a square tube frame. Pretty ingenious, whoever came up with that. Doesn't get much easier except if you get one of those automated openers, but for what it does, I don't see any reason to spend any more on an automated opener or one of those fancy spring or hydraulic loaded openers when this does the job just fine with one hand. So that's it. Make sure you check out the description for links to all the products seen here, and be sure to like and subscribe to the channel.